I just got to keep going, whatever it is. And maybe I'm making more wealth, generating more wealth because I can give more wealth. I can make a difference. I can convey things and have an impact. And so that's why I do think about that is what are the things that I can do? And not just, oh, I did something. This is me thinking about Thanksgiving came around, so I need to do something on Thanksgiving for the folks in need or what have you. But have it be more intentional and consistent.
For the listeners, I just finished a 14-day road trip. I drove 5,000 miles. I had 8 driving days in the 14. So what does the math come out to? I don't know, 750 miles a day or something. And I went to Denver for my conference. We had 40 people. Buck was there. Buck was the muscle behind the event. He really helped out with a lot of the behind the scenes, so I always appreciate him.
Came together very well. I thought everyone was happy. Really,
it was a great event.
Yeah,
a lot of high performers. Talked about the future of the land business, the past of the land business, the current state, and it was just very inspiring to see high performers still kicking butt in a slow market. So that was encouraging. And then after the event, the next day, I drove up to Estes Park or Estes Springs.
Yeah,
Estes Park.
Estes Park. I live in Pinewood Springs, just south of there, but Estes Park is the popular destination for everyone in the summertime. Texans.
The coldest shower I've ever had in my life was at 6 a.m. in Buck's house. It was like I was showering in glacier water. So I ate lunch with him and his wife.
My daughter was screaming that morning, but
yeah. I found if you want to take a cold shower, you make it fun and you just do something weird in the shower. Like I do air guitar just to tell my brain that this is not unpleasant. This is fun.
Yep. It's interesting you mentioned that because I force myself to smile when I crank the cold water 100%.
Oh, really?
And the smile makes it bearable.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That's smart. I should do that.
Yeah.
So I went up to Estes Park, had lunch with Buck and his beautiful wife, Diva. Then drove down to Colorado Springs, spent the night with Dave Deniston and Eric Wong. Then drove all the way to Canada, almost got arrested at the border for pepper spray. I guess it's illegal.
So you had contraband and you didn't know it.
I had more than pepper spray. I had these little Benadryls from Taiwan that looked like drugs, and they were in this little clear plastic baggie, unmarked.
Of course.
I had beer from the event that I forgot to declare. So they just slapped me on the hand and just told me that they could arrest me, but really it was pretty clear I was a harmless person. I had Settlers of Catan in my trunk. I had toxin-free deodorant. Then drove all the way back, met a lot of people in Chicago for different reasons. Met Jason Wilbrink in Quincy, Illinois. I met Chris Gibson in Kansas City, and then I stayed with Bob Scott.
You got back to the old stomping ground in Kansas City.
I did. I drove past my old house, and I didn't miss the house itself or the people or the environment, but I did miss the street. It's this gorgeous, if you want to look up Leawood, Kansas, it's this gorgeous little, it's a diamond in the rough. For still less than $1 million, you're buying houses you're buying 4,000 square foot houses in the best school district in the city with beautiful mature oak trees lining the street. Everyone has perfect yards. There's still kids biking around. Everyone's got a truck there. And it's just, I did miss that. Then I spent the night with Bob Scott in Santa Fe. And so Bob's an Air Force veteran, just like you.
Okay.
And they just bought a house on the top of a mountain. And it was just so cool because the view was good. We watched the sunset. And then in the morning, he put me on his Peloton and then he strapped an oxygen mask to me. And the first 5 minutes was full oxygen. And then the next session was simulating at 10,000 feet, so very limited oxygen.
Okay.
And we were already at 7,500 feet at that point, where he lives. And then the last bit of the workout is full oxygen again. And then I drove 12 hours home. So 70 hours in total, 5,000 miles across 8 driving days. So it was good.
In a relatively sporty car. So that was nice. At least you weren't pulling the RV and keeping a few miles of traffic behind you.
Yeah. And I found like my strategy is I if I just go 5 to 10 over, I
Hmm.
don't have to look for cops. I don't have to change lanes all that much. And it extends my battery, my driving battery much longer. So that was good. Got back last night and then hopped on this podcast with Buck. He has a great story, which I know very well, but the listeners don't. I'm going to do a partial intro, Buck, but then I want you to
Okay.
fill out some of the details. What I believe to be true is you spent the first part of your adult career in the Air Force. You did techie stuff. Then you spent multiple decades in e-commerce you are a partner at an 8-figure revenue e-commerce brand.
Yeah.
During that time, you interviewed Tim Ferriss twice. You hung out with Gary Vanderchuck, and then now you have two businesses where you flip and do minor developments for vacant land, which is how you and I met.
Hmm.
And you also, which I want to talk about more, is your brand for, I don't know how to say it flattering, but it's basically dog supplements made from
Hmm.
crickets.
Yep.
And it's just so exciting to hear that you kind of have a business in traditional real estate, which is a really good cash flow business, but not a good exit business. And then your dog company is the opposite, where it's the focus is not on cash flow, it's on the exit. And why don't you go into detail, talk about your experience with e-commerce and maybe go through the Google slap that you guys went through
Yeah.
a couple decades ago. And then let's dig into your dog brand because I've had a lot of land guests on here and your land business is very impressive, but I
Am I
really
your
want to
first
dig into.
non-land guest, or have you had other non-land
I
folks?
interviewed the founder of Hotbox Sauna,
Okay.
Brady.
Nice.
He's a prior service Navy SEAL.
Yep.
I interviewed my uncle just
Okay.
last week. He is financial advisor,
Hmm.
and maybe one or two more. They all blur together.
Yeah.
But your background is so interesting, so diverse, and the reason I wanted to have you on here is because I really feel like you have seemed to really find a good balance between pursuing your career goals pretty aggressively, but not at the stake of what's important, which is family and loving others.
Yeah.
And I just want to squeeze any juice out of that, any wisdom that we can glean from that. That's why I wanted to have you on here.
First of all, thank you for having me. And I feel it's sort of like, we always feel imposter syndrome. I actually realize that it's probably not a bad thing to feel imposter syndrome as a
Yeah,
human.
it's
It's
good.
actually it's endearing, I think,
Yep.
because then you realize you're not all that in a bag of chips, right?
Right.
There's always someone with a bigger bag of chips than you.
Yeah. But I think you have a healthy level of humility. You have succeeded and failed a lot in your life. So, for the listeners, I've traveled with Buck probably more than any other business colleague. We've been in Ireland together, we've been in South Korea together, in Puerto Rico together, and then I see him at almost every single land conference that we're at. So,
We're
I
going to
know
be
his
together again in
story.
September, so we're
Yep.
making.
We'll be in Florida in September. We
Yep.
both have been covered in ticks on a remote island in Ireland. And yeah, you just learn a lot about people when you're with them. And
Yep.
Buck is a quality guy. And I'm just excited to talk to you in a public format where we can share our friendship and yeah, just
Okay.
collaborate a little bit.
Yeah, you touched on my background. The e-commerce part entered the scene for me in earnest in 2000. So it's been 25
Okay.
years. And that was my wife and I had a corporate job, and I had a corporate job until 2006. So I spent about 21 years getting a W-2, whether it was from the government or from companies publicly traded, as well as venture capital backed startup companies.
Yeah.
And that tail end of that of my career was really in software. So a lot of software service companies, and I met with folks like Mark Benioff several times. He was looking to buy our company, so it gave us an opportunity to have a conversation. We're the same age, which is interesting. And it gave me, I was always driven to, have my own thing, not knowing what that thing should be.
Yeah.
And I, arrived at this conclusion that, hey, I could have my own product, trying to decide what that product should be, and settled on, initially my wife and I did a candle company. So we had a soy wax candle company called Old Country Candle. The
Okay.
reason why it was called Old Country Candle was my wife, Diva, is from Lithuania. So that's the old country.
Mm. Yeah.
And we worked together on it. She's great at visual design and just being pragmatic about things. And we got someone to design the label for us. This was before the internet was on the scene around 2000, but things like Amazon and selling your products on Amazon and the ease with which we can get things, a lot of the store technology like Shopify wasn't around. All those things were very early and nascent. And so we had to cobble together our own product, our own marketing systems for selling the product. I got coaching from guys like Perry Marshall, which that's a connection for us. Maybe we can talk about that later. So I got coaching from Perry Marshall, personalized coaching from Perry on how to do paid traffic, things like that. So I was fortunate to get that going in the early 2000s. It turns out the candles were not, my wife got pregnant with my youngest son, Lucas, who you've met. He's 22
Yep.
now. And the second she got pregnant, she was production. She was making the candles by hand.
Okay.
Hand poured.
Yeah.
We had wholesalers. We were selling retail. We were selling it on taking PayPal payments and things like that back in the early days. And I was still working a day job. And we decided, okay, this wasn't, you make a pivot. You realize, hey, this one's not working.
Right. Or it worked for a season.
It worked and people were happy with it. People loved the product. They still wanted us to provide it to them, but there's a lot of things I needed to figure out. So it was
Yeah.
a journey. And I see a lot of echoes of that in what were the discussions that we had at the land conference. We can get to that later too, of what people were talking about and sharing. And then fast forward to 2006, I pivoted to doing dietary supplements. I found that you could get products formulated and contract manufactured in low minimum order quantities. You could private label products, but I was doing my own formulas. And we created a brand, very proud of it. We actually still sell some of those products to this day. And that's where I learned a lot about paid traffic and getting systems in place and getting third-party fulfillment. Like Diva wasn't manufacturing the stuff. We had someone else do it for us. We had contractors making it.
Yeah.
We had contractors fulfilling it. We had a UPS guy showing up at our door to take our orders for the candles. That was gone.
Yeah.
And so I learned. I'm now progressing and I learned enough to decide, hey, I'm going to leave a six-figure plus salary and commission plus commissions job. And that's when I left my W-2 job back in 2006. So it's now, next year will be 20 years
Okay.
since I'm
Left the
not only
W-2 world.
paying my own salary, but I'm making payroll now with a
Right.
team. And
Yep.
that's scary. I remember being concerned about that and working from home. Now I'm in the basement with my desk and my computer. You're in the garage right now, right? Having done this podcast with me. So you pick your space. It doesn't matter how successful you are or whatever. You just need that private space. You can close the door and get things done. One thing I did learn, and I'm just rambling here, so please interject. One thing I did learn is the importance of constantly learning and training. So whether it's podcasts, attending webinars, and going to events, right? Reading certainly. But now I find today, things are moving so fast. By the time it hits the Kindle, it's already 6 months to a year too late. It's old news. So where you're going to find your up-to-date information that's working right now, you're going to find that by masterminding, going to events, getting personalized group training. Could be group training, could be one-on-one coaching. The group coaching stuff better. I think the one-on-one can be hit or miss, but I've had good luck with group coaching. But I think I've had my biggest wins by going to events.
Yeah.
Meeting
Networking.
people like you, right? We didn't meet at an event. We met through a group coaching context, but we met at an event, or you came and visited me.
Yep.
And I think that plus willingness to step out of your comfort zone and approach people and talk to people and provide some value, offer some help, be interested in them and what you can do for them has been very advantageous for me. So
Yeah.
by doing that, it's allowed me to approach the hosts of an event or some of the guest speakers at the event or whatever it is. And I know you wanted me to talk about, I've met some people they were the gurus, right? You meet the guru, you're the guru, you were the
Hmm.
guru at the event, right? You
Yep.
meet the guru and they're just like us and they have problems to solve and issues and other things, no matter where they are on their arc.
Right.
And I enjoy that and having some kind of reasonable, meaningful follow up to provide value. So an example was early on, this was maybe 2008 timeframe. I forget when 4 Hour Work Week came out from Tim Ferriss. Was it 06, 07, 07 maybe,
Yeah.
2007.
2007.
And so I had already launched. So if you look at the early phase of my supplement company, e-commerce, is I had already launched it, already left my W-2 job, and I had a list of people that I was sending out emails to and things like that. And what value could I provide Tim Ferriss? Tim was early going because he had just launched 4 Hour Work Week, but it was getting
Hmm.
notoriety already.
Yep.
And he wanted to spread the word
Yep.
about his book. So I said, hey, I'll blast my list. Could I bring you on my podcast? Or can
Yeah.
I record back then it was just, can I record an interview with you and share it with my list?
Hmm.
And he said, yes. So I think a couple things I took away from that. One is I really liked Tim and I enjoyed the conversation. He and I, having read the book, and of course I read the book before I interviewed him, having that background of he had a day job, he left the day job via a supplement company that he started. Brain Quicken, I think, was the product.
Yep.
So he was into martial arts and he wanted to have a product that would improve his performance, stamina, and mental sharpness.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is me, except I can't do martial arts and I can't do waltz dancing.
Yep.
So we had something in common and something to share and talk about, which I thought was really cool. And that led to, obviously, he's now world famous and has multiple books out and podcasts and videos and all this kind of stuff. But he shortly thereafter came out with 4 Hour Body, and that's when I interviewed him. And again, did the same thing, offered
Okay.
to promote. So I led with, hey, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
How can I serve you?
Yep.
Maybe I didn't realize at the time that was the right thing. That's what I should do in
It's
terms
just
of
your heart was in the right place.
maybe at that time I was thinking about myself and I wanted to grow the business and having the notoriety of interviewing Tim. But now in reflection, I think about service, being a leader of, what's the term when you're a service oriented leader?
Servant leader.
Servant leader. Thank you. And I'm really trying to recreate the new me of service to my team, to my wife, my family, my customers. And if everything I think about comes from that approach, I feel like the decisions I make will be the best that I can in the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe in retrospect, I could have made a different decision, but at least at that moment, with the information I had, I made a good decision, and it was of service. And if you can, this has been a problem of mine, just as over the years, over the decades, of always thinking when I had the day job, especially, it's like I was in sales, so you're always thinking, what can this person do for me? How can they serve
Right.
me? How are they going to help me get ahead? How are they going to help my sales? How is my
Hmm.
commission check going to be bigger next quarter? Yada, 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 which is just me saying that makes me feel anxious.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you feel that? I've talked a lot here. Do you feel the same way sometimes? You find yourself looking and saying, how is this going to benefit me? How's this conversation going to benefit me?
Yeah, that's a good question. I network a lot, not out of necessarily a desire to make more money. It's truly just a desire to socialize because I guess I have really high social needs. So I have noticed that when I approach a relationship with putting the friendship first, the money always follows, right? And I think you've noticed in your career that when you're, I was telling my brother, so my brother, he went to U of I for his undergrad. He went to Northwestern for his master's degree. He did like the graduation speech at one of their ceremonies. He's got a really impressive resume. Then he goes to work for Baker Tilly, which is an impressive consulting company. And then 6 months ago, he left to do his own consulting. And I told him, I said, your secret sauce, Peter, is that you're reasonable, you're pleasant to work with,
Hmm.
and you're dependable. And just those three skill sets overlapping. And it's not that he's trying to be dependable or reasonable or pleasant. It's that's part of his character. He's going to be overwhelmed with business in a few years. He's going to have so much business, he's going to have to refer it out.
Yeah.
And you're that type where you're just the quality of your character just makes people want to work with you, makes people want to interact with you. And I've always appreciated that. I did talk with Derek Sivers. Maybe I'm like learning a mistake I made. I talked with him in 2016, and then we exchanged a few emails, and then I reached out to him a few months ago to that same email thread,
Hmm.
trying to get him on my podcast. But instead of leading with, hey, how can I serve you? I led with, hey, I think you can help a lot of people by sharing your story on my podcast.
Okay.
Which, if he has a servant heart, I think that would work. If not, then it's what's the benefit to him? Because my audience isn't super big.
Yeah.
And he did say, hey, like right now I'm super busy, but reach out to me in early 2026 and I'd love to be on.
Sure.
I think it's good. I think what you're preaching is good. I do want to touch on something. I want to pivot a little bit. You talked about the stress of making payroll. And I
Yes.
know that's not a stress anymore, but in the early days of any business, that could be a huge stressor. Can you talk to us about what that felt like? Just
Yeah.
any stories of lying on your back in your office, like reaching your hands towards heaven and just praying that you can figure it out? Because a lot of times, like when you're in a W-2 job, you have the cushy salary, and it's easy to see the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Because as entrepreneurs, we could do whatever we want all day long, but it comes with a burden, a huge burden that often you carry alone. Even your
Yes.
spouse sometimes they can't even relate.
Well, they
I just
can,
want
but
you to
they will
talk
worry
about
for
that.
you, and that can add to the pile of
Well,
worry.
you've met Renee briefly. My wife doesn't worry at all. She just tells me to stop worrying. I should pray more.
Good.
Yeah. But I want to go back to the early days of your journey and just share like those emotional ups and downs that you went through.
Yeah, there were two things that really stand out for me that were significant low points. I had things were going great. This was my first supplement company and going so well, in fact, that my older brother had lost his job, and I decided, hey, I need a tech person. I realized I thought I needed a CTO because
Mm,
I have a technology background, but I wanted to have someone there that could build things out, automate things. This is before AI, obviously before AI and all the stuff we have now. And so I matched his salary. It was more than a six-figure salary.
okay.
And I felt that I could afford that, as well as have some other. I was doing the Tim Ferriss 4 Hour Work Week. I had folks in the Philippines. I had a VA in Kentucky, who was my EA, really, great lady. And things were going well
What
until
year was this?
this was probably getting closer to 2008. I have to go back and
Okay.
look at the history there. But around that time, were sued for trademark infringement.
Okay.
And they, I didn't feel like they had a leg to stand on. However, they were a bigger company,
Okay.
and I had to retain a high powered law firm, which was stressful. I had to deal
Yeah.
with this issue of potentially what happens if we have to shut down the company because they prevail or And at the same time, I was trying to make sure sales are continuing and growing and covering payroll and supporting my own family, supporting myself, my brother, and the team. And I made the mistake, which is I'm not sure what the lesson is here and how to do this, but I made the mistake of enunciating my concerns. Hey, if we don't get this show on the road, we might have to shut down or something to that
Yeah.
effect. Okay.
Yeah.
I said the words,
Yeah.
and that was the absolute wrong thing for a leader to say.
You
Right?
you introduced insecurity and lack of stability, which is the only
Yeah.
reason, well, not the only reason. That's one of the reasons why they're working for you for a paycheck is because they want stability.
Yeah.
And so you took that away.
I took that away. Suddenly the curtain was opened and they realized the wizard is just this pudgy guy telling them what to do, and he doesn't have
Yeah.
it figured out. I actually lost my EA, who was a wonderful lady, because she felt that she needed to go and find
Right.
security. And ultimately, one of the things I was just talking to our friend Wayne about this that I was doing at the time was I was working out. I had a personal trainer, excuse me, come and visit me every other day, and it would just work the crap out of me at home.
Yeah.
And that helped me, having that physical fitness component going, helped me stay on top of what I needed to do next,
Hmm.
how I could solve the problem. I couldn't consult AI. I couldn't have AI act like an attorney for me. I had to use my own wits to try to figure out how to get a law firm on board, what steps I needed to take. And because I had some comfort and experience, and maybe this is for everybody, stepping out of your own comfort zone, I was willing to get on the phone with the CEO of the company suing us and have some conversations. And I did have to wield a stick as part of this, and I was able to do like a counterpunch
Okay.
approach. I don't have to get into the details, but I found something that they were doing that wasn't right, and I
Okay.
basically filed a countersuit against them.
Okay.
But I said, hey, let's just stand down.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Israel and Iran. So let's just stand down, cease fire, lick our wounds, and
Right.
call it a day.
And it worked.
And it worked. They said yes. It was expensive. It still cost me a bunch of money.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't been willing to step out of my comfort zone, call up the CEO, start having some conversations, show him that I was real, I was serious, but I was willing to listen and be reasonable,
Yeah.
that we could have just let the attorneys duke it out and it would have cost
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They're incentivized to string it out so they can make
Yeah.
more. And you humanized yourself over the phone. You and I know this with interacting with buyer and seller leads and attorneys and realtors. Just getting on the phone just helps so much. It shows you're a real person. It shows that you're just providing for your family just like they are. And it just makes everyone put their walls down.
Yeah. One step further, Drew, and I'm sure you're doing this now with me, is if you can take it to video and
Yeah.
do the Zoom call or the FaceTime call. And this is true in land as it is in e-commerce with partners and things like that. The moment you have the body
Right.
language included,
Yeah.
I think that's a massive advantage over just the telephone call.
Yeah. They can see your heart through your eyes, right?
Yeah.
And in person is even better, right? And that
Yeah.
just builds trust so much more.
That's your expertise, is you're a rambling
That's
man
true.
and you're seeing everybody.
That is true.
So that was those were two sort of combo events where worried about making payroll,
And then
opening my
sharing it.
fat mouth,
Yeah.
projecting my fears onto the team when they needed me to be the leader. And I don't know what what they teach in the Army leadership. I would imagine same ideas is that
Gripes go up, not down. I actually learned that from Saving Private Ryan.
I'm going to write that down. That's awesome.
Yeah. Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks says gripes go up the chain, not down. You should never, ever be complaining to people that you're the boss of, right? I don't even know if complaining has a space at all, but if you are going to need to vent, you do it with peers Or if it's like a legitimate thing that needs to be corrected and you have a plan of action, then you communicate that to your boss.
And even
Okay,
then,
so
it's you have to make a decision. Like number one, am I griping just to make myself feel better?
yeah,
Is there an intention and a purpose that would benefit not just me, the group, the
yeah,
community, make me a better human? I was thinking about this in a setting at the fire department. I'm a volunteer firefighter, and just thinking about that, it's like making comments or chiming in, even if it's with my peers. I need to decide what is the purpose of what I'm saying, if it's even
right.
remotely smells of being a complaint.
Does it build anyone up? Does it solve a problem? Does it add value in any way, or you're just being negative, right?
Yeah,
Because in the army, everyone has wet socks. Everyone is tired of eating the same food. Everyone's
yeah.
tired. Everyone's really either really hot or really cold. There's no in between. So it just, yeah, it doesn't help. It's funny. You learn little tricks when you're in the field. And the funniest trick I learned is that brushing your teeth boosts morale by 20%. And that's just a made up percentage. But I'd have all my soldiers brush their teeth because it helps a little bit. And you feel clean, at least in your mouth.
Hey, I don't know if this was in the green room when we were talking, but we were talking about cold showers, and maybe we could just reintroduce that idea. But you were saying you like to do something in a cold shower to get
Yeah.
the cold plunge effect, and I like to do something. But that brushing your teeth sounds similar to what I said too.
Yeah. I just cold plunged just before this.
Okay.
So feeling good. Hey, let's
Like, were you
pivot.
playing air guitar in the cold plunge? You said you played air
No,
guitar.
no, I was clutching my fingers because my fingers get really cold and they hurt. So
Yeah.
let's talk
I
about
do
your
the smiling thing. And so brushing
smile.
your teeth, some people are probably smiling when they're brushing their teeth. So you think about that.
Yeah.
That could be just the body posture
Yeah.
or facial expression. Or I find that you were saying you're thinking of something else when you're air guitaring. You're obviously thinking about how that feels and the crowd and roaring or whatever it is. And I do find it's just much easier to sit in the cold shower for a minute or so.
I found I don't smile a lot naturally. And I wonder if before I meet with people, like even I saw my sister over the weekend and she gave me a big smile and I didn't smile back because I don't know, I wasn't in the mood.
Yeah.
And I probably should, like, when I'm in the car about to see people, I should just practice smiling because it does change your brain chemistry slightly. It primes you to smile in real life. Okay, let's talk about your dog brand because I'm really interested in that. And I know I'm not explaining in the most flattering way. Saying dog brand is like, what does that even mean? Can you
Is this
walk
in the
us?
right direction on the screen? I don't know. The ultimate dog. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's
So he's
inverted.
wearing a red shirt called, says Ultimate Dog on it. Is it
Yeah.
ultimatedog.com?
Yes.
So talk us through how you guys started that. I know your wife is very involved. I almost got a chance to buy part of the business and I almost convinced you in Ireland, but
Yeah.
you held out, which I respect you
Held
for.
firm.
Yeah, talk through that because and I want to know about sourcing and minimum order size and this farmer in Canada that you're partnered with and just
Wow. You
like
want
let's
all the
talk about
secret?
let's you don't have to share the secrets, but I want to hear
Yeah.
about supply chain stuff. It just seems like it's such a delicate balance to I was talking with Brady, the Hotbox Sauna founder about this how it's such a delicate balance to line up supplies with orders.
Yes.
And there's a very narrow squish room where you operate in. How do you handle that? Just tell me everything.
Okay. Yeah. So I was teaching. For a minute I was coaching people how to launch their own health and wellness company.
Okay.
So I had for several years I had events in Boulder, and people would come. I had courses that they could take in a group coaching session or a self-directed learning framework, and then they could for by paying the ticket come and attend a live event in Boulder. So I always had the events in Boulder. And one year, my good friend now, Marty Roberts, came. He's a British lab breeder in
Okay.
Mississippi. And he said, "Hey, I'd like to launch a dog brand. What do I need to do?" We got to talking, and I knew at that time, and still today, dog products, supplements, chews, collars, doesn't matter, are on a up and to the
Upward
right.
trend.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's inverse of the birth rate. People don't have kids, they get dogs
they
instead.
get the dogs. Yeah, my daughter, my son, everyone I know, all these couples, they have a dog in lieu of a child right now.
Yeah.
So pretty consistent. And I thought about it, and I was talking to Diva about this, and I said, "Hey, why don't rather than me just teach you and do one-on-one coaching, why don't we
Do
partner
it
up?
together.
You could be the dog guy because he already
And
was
you were
doing
the
some.
e-commerce guy.
I'd
You
be
knew
we'd
all
be the
the,
formulator and
yeah.
the ecom tech people." And so we did that. We launched the product successfully. The sourcing, we were thinking, and I'm in my training on how to do health and wellness companies. It's a lot about not just doing what everyone else is doing. Don't just private label another product that someone else has made and put your sticker on it. And that ship has sailed.
Okay.
Everyone has. There's dozens of products on Amazon if you want to solve this particular
Yeah.
problem
You
for
didn't
dogs.
want a white label. You wanted to be
Yeah.
vertically integrated.
And so I knew how to do that because I've done that before. And so first we started with the formulation. There
What
are
year
events
would
that
have
you
this
can go
been?
to. Yeah.
What year was this when you're starting this?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2019. So this was just before I got into the land space. And we formulated, and this was just a labor of love side gig
Yeah.
while we're doing all the other things that we're doing. And we selected the unique formulation. So we wanted it to be something different. We used cricket organic ingredients, including organic cricket protein as a core ingredient to the product. And we have some other ingredients that are organic as well. And we did the research to make sure that this stuff would work, that we were picking the right ingredients, the right dosages. We knew exactly how much we would need for a dog of a certain weight. And we did source from multiple locations. So we have products come in from India. We have some ingredients. We have ingredients coming in from Canada. We have our pouches are made in. Let me grab one of them. Our pouches are made in Canada. So this is an example of one of our pouches.
Okay.
And the reason I wasn't afraid of that, because yes, I had done it before. So having some experiential, okay, I need to go call them up and find out what their minimum order quantities are for the pouch, for this number of kilos of a probiotic or what have you. And I was willing to always ask for, and I think everyone should do this, you get what you negotiate. I don't know who said
Yep.
that. It wasn't me. But you get what you negotiate. Is that maybe in the book Getting to Yes or something like that?
I don't know.
And you can always see what they give you, but you say, hey, look, we're a bootstrap startup company. We're just getting off the ground. Can give me your figures for these different quantity amounts? I'm going to probably start at the lower quantities, but give me the best break you can, that sort of thing. So I always have done that, especially when you're starting up a brand, but you want to do that obviously as you're scaling up the brand. And so I have ingredients coming in from the different locations. And we
Okay.
actually did the first 200, actually we did several hundred units as small batch in our kitchen.
Okay.
So as a small company, legally you can do that for health and wellness products. You can do it for beauty creams, you can do it for supplements, things like that. So
Yeah.
we're under a certain dollar amount, that's under a certain amount of quantity wise. And we had a professional packaging, had the labeling produced, everything that we needed. And we did and we put seals on it and all this kind of stuff. And we did the first quantity by a small batch. And I did this in a previous company where I was like, I wanted to test this out. I didn't want to like put all our money in it and worry about it falling over. We just wanted to make sure it got traction. I think that's the
What
word.
did Tim Ferriss said? You toss $1,000 at it and a few weekends and just see if it works.
Yeah. And I recommend that you can apply that to anything you do in life, right?
Yeah.
Is you make a bet, you're not going to go all in, you're going
Right.
to do a test. And we sold out. And there have been a couple times when we have been out of stock. The other thing that we've done is we decided to leverage content marketing to get our customers. So we started publishing articles, high quality, written by dog experts on our blog. And very rapidly, we found that it's interesting. Google likes high
Yeah,
quality articles.
SEO. Yeah. So you
So
started ranking like organically.
we're ranking organically. We get now still our number one sales channel is our search engine optimization. But so that we've made a couple of changes since then. We've kept the formula the same, and I've been very careful. I didn't want to have a Coke classic problem, if you know that story, where Coke switched
They removed, so
to
you still have cocaine in your dog treats?
no, the later formula switch that they did. I think they were trying to make it more like Pepsi, and they changed the
Okay.
formula, and then they changed it back because everyone complained. So I
Okay.
didn't want to have that problem, and I decided to keep probiotics, cricket, everything exactly what we had first spec'd.
Because
Because
you don't want to
I've
mess with
been,
it. Yeah.
what's that?
You don't want to mess it. What if you
You don't want
change
to
one
screw it up.
ingredient? Yeah. If it's working, why
If
change
you've
it?
heard the story about the PT Cruiser and what Chrysler did with it, and you know how they cheapened it, they had a great
Yeah.
product to begin with, and then they cheapened it over time. So I didn't
Yeah.
want to make that mistake. And so meanwhile, we did change our packaging. We actually experimented with compostable. This is actually an example of the compostable packaging. This
Okay.
wasn't a great idea because the pouch would split because the
Okay.
compostable pouches are not as strong as
Yeah.
a recyclable plastic. So we're learning, we're making mistakes. If a customer has a problem, like the pouch broke or they didn't like the product or the dog sniffed it and didn't want to eat it, we just refund them. We take care of them
Mm.
immediately.
Yeah.
My wife she's from the old country, she's from Eastern Europe, and they might say, that's their fault, not our fault. I'm like, no, we need to be of service
Yeah.
and take care of the customer. So we really have that brand value, I think, of taking care of the customer. And now we're adding a couple things to the mix. So we're on Shopify, we're a Shopify store.
Okay.
We have grown consistently month over month, and we just had our record sales month in June. Really happy about that. That was
And we're
sequential
recording this
growth.
in July 2025.
Yep. And I decided, hey, we have this AI thing. Why don't I have some technical ability, but you really don't need it now with AI. You can have AI coach you to be better at AI. I came up with a plan. I said, hey, help me be a better as CEO. What do I need to do to scale up this brand? Here's my brand. This is what we believe in. This is what we care about. This is what the product does. And what are my best options right now? So
Hmm.
it handed me a game plan to execute. Adding part of the game plan is deploying in other countries. So we've already executed one additional country. We're about to add a second, the UK. They love dogs in the UK.
Yeah.
The other is we're not doing anything with influencers right now. So wait a minute, we tested a podcast and it worked out. We actually made money on the podcast. So we're like, maybe we should do influencers on Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
YouTube, that sort of thing, podcasts. And maybe it's time we grow up because I've had this experience when we were running the 8-figure brand is just doing paid marketing. Just diving in, doing the paid marketing, acquiring
Hmm.
customers through paid traffic because at the end of the day, you really control your destiny when you're buying media.
Yeah.
You're buying media, whether it's a YouTube ad or a display ad on Google or what have you, that what separates the men from the boys. If you can make that scale,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make sure we had all the foundational stuff in place. Great product, great customer support,
It was selling on its own without any
selling on
paid
its
ads.
own.
Yeah.
I guess Y Combinator calls it. We have traction.
Yeah.
We've proven it by having traction, so it's not a flash in the pan. We have customers on subscriptions.
Okay.
That proves it, and we have now hundreds of testimonials, so that proves it. So
Hmm.
we have all these proof points. We're like, okay, now let's go ahead and dive in and
And I
spend
know,
money.
if you don't mind me sharing, I know you guys are targeting a pretty lofty exit goal. I don't know if you want to share the number, but you guys are designing this in a way because you've designed multiple companies and you, with this last, I guess the land business is your last, most recent one, but with this dog brand, you guys really have purposely designed it to where it would be a brand that somebody wants to buy. And you didn't
Yeah.
make the brand centered around you or your wife. There's no face of the brand other than
We got
the
the dog.
logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it more marketable to an investment firm that wants to put in their portfolio. I want to know about the logistics. So let me tell you what I think I know, and then you can correct me.
Okay.
So, at least for your Chirp product, the topper that goes on top of dog food and it helps with dog allergies and
Hmm.
adds protein. So, you have one or multiple cricket farmers, and then you place an order and then they put it on a pallet. Do you have to order by the pallet?
We order by the pound, so hundreds of
Okay.
pounds.
So, it
Uh,
can share a pallet probably.
mhm.
Then
Yep.
the pallet gets shipped where? To a warehouse
So we were
or to
fortunate
the
enough. So we had two options. Initially, when we did this in the kitchen, we just ordered it in bulk and it was shipped to
right.
us in boxes in that case. And then we said, I don't want the Diva making candles in the kitchen
Yeah.
problem. So I said, okay, we're going to quickly, once we prove this out, we're going to quick move it to contract manufacturing. So
Okay.
we found a co-packer.
Okay.
There's a couple ways to do this. We've looked at doing this with a commercial kitchen that we could rent, and then we could go in there periodically and make it in the
Okay.
commercial kitchen, and then we're controlling the whole
Right.
manufacturing process. Or in our
You
case, we
train
found
them
a co-packer, or you can call them contract manufacturer, that would mix the ingredients per spec,
and then
package
put
it
it
up,
in your packaging
package it
and
up,
then
seal it, etc. Yeah,
and it gets drop shipped from there or does it go somewhere else?
it gets bulk shipped to our fulfillment center, and we
Okay.
have what's called 3PL, third party logistics. Everyone now, if now, a lot of people have probably sold something on Amazon if they've tried e-commerce, but having the 3PL, you can't live without it these days. So whether it's fulfillment by Amazon, they are a 3PL. Our friend Jeff has one with his, I'm going
Hmm.
to name names, Brevara. He has a great storage container product. And so, yeah, he ships through FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon. We ship through a private third party, another private third party fulfillment center who has warehouses in US and in other countries. And we chose them on purpose for that reason.
Okay. And then you rent the space. So how do you make sure you don't have too much product sitting there versus not enough? Because
Yeah, that's a
that whole
great
supply
question.
chain takes weeks, I'm assuming. I mean, you
That's a great
can't
question.
just he can't just like birth crickets the next day. This isn't it
8 weeks.
takes 6 weeks.
It's pretty short
Yeah,
gestation, 8 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, that is probably, and I've been burned. My partners and I have been burned by making sales forecasts and then buying too much product and then having it sit in inventory for too long, or getting a Google slap or Facebook slap, and we can't advertise anymore, and now we have to find another way to move the product.
Hmm.
So we want to avoid that. If I guess during COVID, some car manufacturers, other people had a lot of inventory sitting around, not moving. So I wanted to avoid that. I have been using closer to a just-in-time manufacturing process where I've negotiated smaller buys of
Okay.
ingredients, paying a bit more, smaller buys, getting commitments, I'm giving them, I do get on the phone, I break out of my comfort zone and get on the phone with typically the CEO, the top dogs of the companies, and I give them a report. I say, hey,
Hmm.
things are going well. We got more reviews. We had a record sales month. We're going to need more product. We really appreciate the support that you're giving us. I know we're small, but
Yeah.
we're hoping to be the mouse that roared.
Yep.
And doing that kind of in advance communication and doing it not just with intention, talking like a human, like a
Right.
person that cares. I care about them. I know they're running a business. I want them to care about me. And I generally have been able to get companies say, okay, we'll ship you a small quantity. We'll ship you a smaller quantity than our normal MOQ, which is minimum order quantity, and get the support you need. You get what you negotiate. So you need to
Yep.
ask and you need to give a reason why. I think there's the book called Influence by Cialdini. And there's one instance where they had a line at the copier and some lady cut in line. And rather than just cut in line, she says, but I have to make more copies. And she gave a
Yeah.
reason why. Didn't make any sense, but they let her
Right.
cut. I'm not saying
Also,
do that, but
yeah.
give a decent reason why.
I think they're incentivized so they can tell you're competent, you're easy to work with. They want to incentivize you to grow because they would rather have you be a bigger chunk of their income than some other company that doesn't communicate well.
Yeah. And is willing to just jump to whoever the lower cost provider is. I
There's some loyalty there.
personally, there's a term that, and it's not a great one, but I picked it up in my software sales days, that some companies like big Fortune 500s, when they have a provider, whether it's a consulting firm or a software provider, they'd rather have one throat to choke, they call it. One throat to choke. So they'd rather have one bigger company provide all these services than go do individual deals with small companies and have all the headaches.
Yeah. All that bandwidth. That's why I have the business model I have is I have these land flipping businesses that would just outsource an entire money department to me instead of shopping for the lowest rate for multiple funders. They just
Yeah.
rather lock in their agreement with me and then they can do volume. They don't have to think about it. So that's what you've done. So
Yeah.
let's go into, okay, so the farmer breeds the crickets, grows the crickets, ships them in bulk. Are they shipped whole crickets or does the
No, they
farmer,
process them. They're processed. So
they grind them up?
they cook them to a degree.
Okay.
So heat treat and then grind the cricket. So it's a protein powder
Yeah.
is the end deliverable for me.
The reason I'm interested because I watched this documentary. I don't know if it's on YouTube or Netflix, but it was suggesting that a way to feed the world is through crickets. And crickets by weight have more protein than a beef steak. They have more fiber than broccoli, and they have more omegas than salmon. And if you grind it, you're not eating bugs with the little legs and eyes. You grind it up and you make flour out of it and stuff. I think it's great. I know most Americans that's absolutely disgusting to them, but there's some countries out there that are doing that, and they've been doing that for thousands of years. And I just think it's smart and it's good for the dogs. All right, so they ship it ground up, then the co-packer packs it into your packaging. You've obviously had to give them instructions on how to do it and do the formula, and then they ship it to a warehouse. And then
Exactly.
do you have to rent warehouse space?
They charge by the number of bins you have your product in. And so
Okay.
it's a very nominal storage
Okay.
charge in their warehouse. And then the way they really make their money is the pick, pack, and ship. So they charge per order and then they charge per item in the order over the initial item.
Got it.
And they charge you for packaging, boxes,
Okay.
tape, things like that.
Yep.
And then they get something off the shipping charge as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a little margin baked in there for them. So they pay FedEx $9 and then they charge you $11 or whatever. So are you comfortable sharing margins like on the Chirp product? How much do you make it for? Or how much do you have to pay the farmer? And then how much does it cost for the co-packer and then the shipping warehouse? And how much is it all in after cost of goods sold? And what kind of margins are you seeing?
Yeah, I know the margins on my overall gross margin for the
Okay.
business. I haven't broken it down by the different subcomponents,
Okay.
but my overall margins are about 56% gross margin.
Okay. So that's revenues minus cost of goods sold. And then
Yep.
obviously you have overhead and SEO stuff added in there
Right. So
afterwards.
then once I start adding in, and I think I may have factored in the cost of our articles that we publish and things like that, which is pretty nominal, but should be factored in if you can into that equation. And then I have as I add my influencer marketing, paying on a performance basis for influencers to promote like an affiliate, or my cost per acquisition when I'm doing paid traffic on something like Meta, that's separate in
Okay.
terms of an expense. So what I found is that being willing to at least break even or better when you acquire a customer. If we did that in the land space, imagine what the world would be like if we had repeat customers. I've had repeat customers. I have in the land space, so that's happened because I maintain a pretty large list of buyers. But that's the beauty. The beauty about being in e-com is you're building a brand, you get repeat buyers. If you have a consumable brand like Chirp, their dog
it gets eaten
is going to
up,
stay on it. So that's a big benefit.
especially if it
And
works.
exactly. And then the other thing is we're adding other things to the mix, such as loyalty points, refer a friend, all those things to fan out so that we're recording this right now. You're going to publish this on your podcast. Another podcaster may share this, friends may share this with someone and got something of value out of this. And so you want that knock-on ripple effect to
Right.
occur.
So let's say you're selling your Chirp product for $50 retail. You might be, let's say let me know if these are rough numbers. Let's say it's $12 worth of actual crickets in there. Then there's maybe another $15 worth of like shipping and logistics.
Yep.
And then, so you're all in at $27 each. And then,
It's remarkably close, but yeah, you're on track.
and then you have, what is that? Then you have $23 left over to pay for marketing, pay salaries. That's your gross profit. Does that sound
Yep.
about right?
That's right.
Okay.
And then
So,
that's for first purchase. And then we get now, depending on the month, 45, 50% repurchase. So there's no incremental cost
okay.
for them to come back and buy again. We just send out an email, we send out a text message.
Yep.
They remember because their dog is looking sad and doesn't have Chirp on their food.
Yeah.
So those things happen. And then we have subscriptions, which is automated and it's just going to automatically ship out the next order.
Yeah. So I've always thought about this with Amazon brands or really any physical product. If you sell at, let's say you sell it at $40, that cuts your profit margin by over half.
Mm-hmm.
Do that? Do you do sales? And if so, like what's your incentive to other than just to move inventory?
Yeah, it's counterintuitive. We expressly chose to get into to have a brand that would be a premium brand, go after the premium
Okay.
segment of the market.
This is classic Tim Ferriss stuff, by the way.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I would rather with people that have discretionary income
Yep.
and love their dogs, which everyone does, and
Mm-hmm.
wants what's best for the dog. They'll spend any amount of money to make
Yep.
sure the dog's happy and healthy.
It's cheaper than kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll spend $50 at Chick-fil-A on my kids.
So rather than discount, we do offer bundles. So if you buy more, you get a discount. But now we have, instead of doing the heavy discounting that I've done in the past, where I've done it, I've seen other people do it, where they're offering 30, 40, 50% off.
Yeah.
And
It ruins your brand.
your brand is suffering. People are
Yeah.
waiting for the next discount to arrive. And have you ever seen Apple discount their iPhones 50%?
Never.
So
Yeah.
now we're saying we'll give you 5, 10, up to 20% max on a special, or if you buy a bulk amount of the product, and we'll give some nominal discount. We'll really protect the margins. People will want it because it works, and they see the case studies and testimonials that that sells it more than me saying how great it is.
I love it. A lot to think about. Okay, so we've gone through the logistics. You talked about what's next in the marketing. Yeah. So what is next for you? What's next on the horizon?
Yeah, two things I alluded to. Number one, I wanted to thank you for helping me really discover my faith. And so you and I have, I don't know if you talked about this in this, we're both
Yep.
Christians. You've really made me put faith forward in what I'm doing. And it's had, I think, a massive impact on my life and the way I view the world and the way I conduct myself. We were in a officers meeting at the fire station last night, and we were interviewing a new candidate. and a young man, 20, is ready to join the fire department.
Okay.
And one of the things the fire chief said was, you really need to make sure and realize that you are representing the fire department
Right.
24/7. It doesn't matter if you're wearing the logo or not. You're representing the department. And so how you conduct yourself, how you treat others really matters. And I'm like, wow, you've heard that before, but it reminded me and reminds me of us as men of faith, as Christians. We also
We're not
have to
doing
abide
it.
by that.
Yeah, we don't do it very well all the time.
We don't do it very well at
Yeah.
all, but I'm reminded. And so you reminded me on our trip to Ireland, for example, and that was tying back in with Perry Marshall, who was my coach, PPC, Google PPC coach back in 2006. It's been almost 20 years. And you reintroduced me to Perry, and we went on this sort of faith-based trip around Ireland, right? The Thin Places. Everyone can Google that. Thin Places trip with Perry Marshall. And I had this awakening, and I really appreciated that. And had another friend invite me to a men's Bible study, and I appreciated that. And then my daughter announced that, hey, my 15-year-old, she's going to be 16 this month, said, I want to go to church, Emma. And so we started looking for churches that we want to participate in. And next thing you know.
And I was there. I went to your church
You came
2
to my
Sundays
service.
ago. Yep.
Yeah. Met the pastor.
I did.
And Emma and I got baptized together this last Easter.
Yeah. I missed that.
So that has had in terms of change to the business and the way we think about things, is I'd like to be a faith-forward business. I know of other companies, very successful companies, that are not hiding their faith in the way they operate. And so that's something that, not just saying it,
Right.
but rather doing it through our actions.
Yeah. It's also a smart marketing. I know you're not doing it for the marketing play, but think about it. If somebody doesn't share your values, they're probably not going to be a good customer fit anyways.
Yeah.
And if you're very clear about your values, they'll be loyal to you because they just feel good about your brand. So
Yes.
I think that's great.
I was having a conversation with my lady who works with me in sales for my land business. She is going to be running our influencer marketing program at Ultimate Dog.
Okay.
And so she's also a woman of faith. And we just had this conversation. I said, I could act like I did when I was 20 and say, it doesn't matter who the influencer. If the influencer is ginormous and he's Mr. Beast and he's got 100 million followers and he could make us $1 gazillion. I'm not judging Mr. Beast. I don't know Mr. Beast and what his values are. But if something's off and their values don't match ours in some way, then it's a no. Yeah. And I would rather have influencers that we feel good about to represent our brand.
Yeah, and that's why I'm always careful with, like in my business, who my money partners are, who my operators are, because those values need to be aligned. It's just something you kind of learn as you go. I did send you a list of questions before we wrap up. Let me see if I want to go through any of them, because we did cover a lot.
Is this the lightning round?
We'll see. I just feel like you've done a good job.
I was wondering if you'll ever do a live recording and let people send in real time.
Yeah, Ajay does that.
Mm-hmm. He puts it up on Facebook?
Yep. Yeah. I always come in and do a little bit of trolling. I find it fun. Okay, we talked about your background, business model. We didn't touch on your land business, but there's plenty of other guests we've talked at length about that. Yeah, I feel like you've done a good job of balancing family and business.
I just wanted to share that those three things, faith, family, community, was an idea I wanted to share. And you really helped me, as I mentioned, rediscover my faith. I think leading with that. The family part, do I have it figured out at my tender age? I'm still working through that. I know all of us are at different places on the path. And I do feel I wanted to share that the thing that we have as fathers, as husbands, as members of our community, we have our time and attention. And so I do, yeah, you can look in the rear view and say I made mistakes and I can do that differently. But now today and in the future, I can make sure I take the time, provide the things I have control over and are real value to my faith, my family and community is my time and attention. So I got a call from the gentleman that leads our men's Bible study, and he said, "Hey, we want to put a truck together and drive it down to Kerrville, Texas, and take care of the flood victims." Things like that. Is that my first reaction to something like that was not, "Oh shit, I can't do that because I'm
Busy.
whatever." It was more like, "How can I do this? How can we do this?" So things like that coming up is you can redirect your time and attention to the things that are going to uplift you or going to support those three things or more if you have more that are important. And that's
One thing
serving.
I've had a mindset shift recently, Buck. This just happened a couple months ago where I had been giving my kids a ton of time, but not a lot of attention. And there was a moment we were on the trampoline and they were jumping and they wanted me to jump with them. And I was actually in our mastermind at
Okay.
6 p.m. on Mondays. And I was half interacting with them, half listening to the meeting. And I could tell my 7-year-old, she's bummed. She told me later, I just wanted you to jump with me and you're just always working. And I'm thinking like, I'm always around you. Like I spend way more time with these kids than any other father that I know,
Yes.
but I'm always half working. And I realized that, at least to my kids, I'm assuming this is for all humans, they would rather have less time with me, but 100% of my attention,
Yes.
than just have me always around and I'm always half paying attention. And so
The attention is the rocket fuel for your time.
yes. Yeah. So I used to, let's say I spend 8 hours a day with them, but they get 30% of my attention. I realized that 2 hours with 100% attention is, from their perspective, just so much more impactful. Let me ask one question and then we'll wrap up.
Aw,
Okay.
I love talking with you, Drew.
We could go more. I think I went with Josiah. I think the raw recording was over 2 hours. Okay. So the question is, how much risk and challenge do we need to feel alive? And really, I want to tweak that for you. Is your motivation with these businesses, are you running these businesses? I know you don't really need money anymore, so that's not really an incentive for you. Is your incentive because you just love the game of business or you love risk and it makes you feel alive? What's the core fuel right now?
The learning, I feel like there's so much I do not know, and the curiosity. We are presented with so much opportunity to learn from others, being presented with the technologies. We're handed AI, we're handed the iPhones and the computers to do this. There is nothing that it's just like that. I'm fascinated by the opportunity. I was fascinated back when the internet came on the scene. For me, it was around 1994, and I just had this curiosity. So I think that just propels me. It's like I need to learn that. Now I mediate. I try to control it by making sure that I give enough attention to the thing I am learning, the things I am learning, so that I can either extract value that I can apply to something important for me, or I'm going to fully, for example, AI. I could just say, I want to learn AI and fool around with it. But for what I did instead is I actually have on my mission board, and one of the tasks for today is I'm doing a programmatic AI SEO system. Okay, so that I can pick topics, I can have articles written, I can have humans tune them up, and then I can post them, and then I can 10x, I hate to use that trite
Yeah.
phrase, but I can ramp up my production of articles because that's already working.
Right.
The old way was I'd manually pick the topic, I'd send it to the writer, they would send it back a few days later. I would take a week to review it and edit it, and then it would get posted. That would take weeks. I want to collapse that to a day or two and get it done a lot faster. But now I can learn AI or have AI teach me AI to do this.
Hmm.
So that part, I think we're at this amazing time in our lives, all of us, to fully leverage that. There are no excuses, and everyone should be AI powered up. They should have the AI Iron Man suit on, leverage that in what they're doing. Get really curious, be curious, and remain curious. I don't know that is it a risk taking and that sort of thing. There's a lot of things that I'm probably more risk
Risk
averse
averse.
now as I get older and have more responsibility and kids and grandkids and businesses and things like that. But I now, when I hear my friend going on his 4,000-mile bike ride, motorcycle ride with his brother, or you driving around 5,000 miles in 70
Hmm.
hours, that kind of stuff, it's like, how could I? You did that in conjunction with meeting, you created a business purpose out of it. So you created a
Yep.
social business purpose out of it, and it's going to lift you up. So I like those things where I'm learning and applying. And then the other thing is I haven't figured this out yet. Honestly, I don't know. That's an area of that I need to work on, is how can I mentor and share the things that I do learn, I have learned and that I'm learning with other people. A lot of times it just happens to be guys, younger guys. So I see guys like you that I would love to share, I love to share things with and say, hey, I had that. Sometimes wisdom, you're not really sure where it came from, and sometimes you can place what the event was,
Yeah.
but you still want to share it with the other person and not necessarily have them learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do that more better with my kids.
And I have noticed, so you just turned 60, right?
Yeah.
And I'm 36. So we're 24 years apart. And I've noticed that you adopt new tech way faster than me. So you're way ahead in the AI game. I just started using ChatGPT to help me design an app for an idea I have. But I have noticed your love of learning. You're never afraid to spend money on coaching. You're always learning new things. And I just hope that some of that rubs off on me because I don't plan on retiring. I would like to be doing some sort of business activity until I die. And
Yeah.
you're, you like, if you live to 95, you still have 35 years of like really fun stuff ahead of you. And I hope I could be like that. So
You have
you're an
60 years
encouragement.
then, right? You got,
Yeah.
what am I going to do with myself when I
Yeah. You
think
get
I've made
bored.
it?
If you
Or
retire,
we
you get
never
bored.
make it. We never make it. Maybe there's a different
Yeah.
end point. You got to think point. It's not the end point. It's especially as a believer, you realize that there's no
Life
end
is
point.
more than making
Therefore,
money.
I just got to keep going, whatever it is. And maybe I'm making more wealth, generating more wealth because I can give more wealth. I can
Hmm.
make a difference. I can convey things and have
Yeah.
an impact. And so that's why I do think about that is what are the things that I can do? And not just, oh, I did something. This is me thinking about Thanksgiving came around, so I need to do something on Thanksgiving for the folks in need or what have you. But have it be
Yeah.
more intentional and consistent
And
and
it doesn't have to be
frequent.
separate, right? Loving other people and doing business doesn't have to be two separate activities on the calendar. It can be
Right.
all at the same time. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur is you can craft your business how you want and you can really design it in a way that adds so much value to your customers, people you interact with. I used to tell my team when they are on the phone with buyers and sellers, our job is not to do deals. Our job is to make everyone's day 1% better, even if we don't do a deal with them. And so my employees before, one time they helped an elderly man buy a TV and they figured out how to deliver it to his off-grid house and all kinds of funny stories that just come from really having a mindset shift with integrating business and serving others. Okay,
If we
so
feel we're all connected, that will come back. We just don't. If you I think I was talking to my son about this, my oldest boy, about the Nordstrom story, the Nordstrom effect. They gave all their employees like $1,000 discretionary money to
okay.
spend to do whatever to make a customer happy.
Okay. Oh, and it worked really well.
And yeah, I don't know if they still do that, but historically they had done that, and they were just famous for the way they treated their customers. So the
Yeah.
TV story is a great example.
Yeah. I even met a lady in a grocery store one time. All kinds of weird stories come from the land business. As I'm going through these questions, Buck, and I feel like a lot of them actually don't apply to you. It's stuff like, what if I build an empire, but my family resents me? Which I don't think you really have that fear. What if I stop moving and I don't realize? What if I stop moving and I realize I don't even know who I am? Which I feel like you're very grounded in your identity. What if I, maybe this one applies to you. What if I never feel like I've made it and keep chasing something that doesn't exist?
Okay, so that's actually a really interesting one. What does it mean you made it?
What is that?
You're at the peak, and of course all the trite books on success, etc. It shows the guy at the top of the mountain with his hands in
Yeah.
the air.
Yeah. And my podcast has those images too.
Oh, does it? Okay, I didn't. I thought it
Yeah.
was just you. I saw your picture.
But my podcast shows that when you get to the top of the mountain, it's really lonely and you miss being down there with the people.
Yeah. So made it. How about you're the best? You've produced the best version of you, whatever version is. I'm version 60.0. Whatever the version is, you're at the best. There's been no backslide. If there has, you're aware and you're adjusting. And for me, it's a lot of lessons about not having jealousy about others' success, celebrating other people's success, not feeling I'm competing with others, peers. Doesn't
Not
matter if they're
comparing.
younger or older,
Yeah.
because that mental mindset creates fear and anxiety
Yeah.
when you think you're competing with a peer or somebody else that you think you should be at the same level they are. We do not know everyone's story. And
Yeah.
I do credit both what you've done for me with my faith. I credit being a volunteer firefighter is you get to see people at their worst moments, or you get to see death. And then you realize that all these things that I'm worried about and thinking about, they're not
They
as
don't
important
matter.
as I make them out to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my first 2 years in the Army as platoon leader. I was texting with a guy who was not in my unit. He was a friend. I texted him the night before, something random. Hey, do you want to meet up? And then the next morning, his roommate is on our couch. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. But I go to PT. I didn't wake him up. I go to PT. When I come home, my other roommate tells me, hey, Mike killed himself last night. And the reason his roommate was on our couch is because there's a dead body in their place and he had to get out of there. And just really early on, we had a couple more like that, where really early on you realize that like none of it matters if like none of the things that we think matter really matter. So it's just, I think you're experiencing that with the fighter stuff. I know you've had some pretty nasty calls that you've had to go to. And yeah, it's just, I guess that's the purpose of this podcast is to, I just think there's a lie we're told. There's two lies, I think. The first one is you get good grades, go to college, get a good job, and then you'll be set. And then once you're in that office job, you're told one of two lies. Either you get the corner office and then you're set, or
Yeah.
you're a loser if you have a W-2 and like the real goal is to be self-employed or a business owner. And you and I have done that. And there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And I feel like we need to get the word out where.
Or what is the pot of gold?
Yeah. What is the pot of gold?
What is the pot of gold? And you can make it your own definition.
Yeah. So it's
And
just
that's okay.
how to walk that delicate tightrope of chasing your business goals because they're fun, but not sacrificing what's really important, which is the community around you.
You just shared something really interesting with me is that I don't know what your plans are with it, but the attention it starts with awareness, observing your attention in the moment with your kids.
Yeah.
And that's for me too, right? Is that, am I being attentive, not just with them? My son took me on a hike. My youngest son, Lucas, he's 22. He loves going on hikes. So on one hike, that I went with him, I realized that I was just in a hurry to get done with the hike.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Mom's going to pick us up on the other end. And I was thinking about, where's mom? I was checking her location. Oh, we didn't have cell service. And retrospectively, I thought about that and I said, you know what? I wasn't present because Lucas mentioned something. He said, Dad, you didn't stop and relax and look around
Right.
and enjoy the sights and look at the view. And our dog Whiskey was with us and all these things. And he
Does
noticed.
that scare,
He
does
was
that,
22. Of course, he's older. Of
right.
course, he's going to notice. Your 7-year-old noticed
Yeah.
that Dad's not here mentally.
Yeah. I've been doing on my drive yesterday, I drove 12 hours and I listened to a lot of podcasts about fathers. I was on Chris Valentin's podcast from Bethel Church. And being present is like the most important thing because a lot of people work from home now. A lot of people are home more, but we check out.
Yeah.
We escape with Netflix or social media or something. I wanted to ask you, does it scare the living daylights out of you that like Lucas is home now, but he could be gone in 6 months? And knowing how sons just leave and they just go to the four corners of the earth. That's certainly what I did. Does that scare you?
Yeah, it does. And I take it for granted that he's here. So I think about that. And it very much scares Diva and I about, because Emma, our youngest daughter, is 16. Because then when she heads off to college, we're going to be empty nesters officially
Yeah.
at that point. Now we have our brands that we're working on and our things that we're doing. And so we're busy, church that we're a part of and giving back. I'm trying to find ways to make sure that the flock wants to come home. They want to visit. You go up to your folks' lake house in Wisconsin. I want to find reasons why they want to come back and be with us on a regular basis, on a regular cadence.
Yeah.
And that they really love it. They really want to be here with me. So that's another goal. And you talk about making it. That for me, that would be making it. Like we have a beautiful place in the mountains that they love coming back. We can gather, and they want to come back regularly, or maybe they choose to live in the state. Colorado's a beautiful state, and I'm doing the other things that I enjoy: learning, growing, continuing to grow, at the same time, helping them with the things that they need my assistance because I love mentoring and coaching my children and others. So to me, that would be the definition. I don't know if enough is the right word, but that would be the definition of success.
Yeah.
Kids want to see you. Kids want to be with you. They want to come back. They want to bring their kids. You and I have a mutual friend, Justin Pichet. He was here with his wife, Juliana, and his kids, Nora, Jacob, and Gracie. And it was so cool to see them having fun and riding on the fire engine on the 4th of July and doing stuff. That's also what I want my kids to come back and do. I have grandchildren.
Yeah.
And enable them. Maybe also is I want to make sure that they have mentally the headspace to leave their day jobs and come and hang out with me.
I think what scares me, my 7-year-old, I mean, her childhood is just based on the calendar is 35% done or something. And then if you measure it based on how much actual time you spend with the kid, I saw a statistic, something like by the time your kid is 10 years old, you've spent like 60% of your time with them.
Your wall clock time with the child?
Yeah. So I guess that's what kind of scares me. But I know that dynamics shift when you have adult children. And even though you spend less calendar time, I think the depth of that time is usually better. I think I caught myself early when my second daughter was born. She's 4 now. She just turned 4 last week. When she was born, I was starting my land business. I had a full-time W-2. I was a company commander in the Army Reserve, and I was just not present. And I want to catch that bad habit as soon as possible. And I think I've caught it pretty early, but I'll go through photos in my phone with my girls. We don't like showing them videos to entertain them, but if they need a distraction, we'll go through the photos. And I'll see photos I just have no memory of. And I just don't remember certain years of their childhood because I've been so busy. And I'm trying to make up for that in a way. And I know that's not really possible, but I feel like you've done a good job of that. I'm sure you have your own regrets, but it's
The
always healthy.
scariest moment, I'll tell you this, and it can be scary. It can be also gratifying too, on occasion, is when you see your reflection in the grown child,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh shit, that's me.
Yeah.
That came from me."
Good or bad.
And you're either going to say it's going to be "oh shit" or it's going to be "oh great."
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the "oh shit." So you want to make sure you try to have the "oh great"
So
ahas when you
let me
see
show
that in
you
your kids.
something. My daughter, my 7-year-old made these for me today. These, if you're just listening on audio, these are little handwritten memory verses that my
Nice.
7-year-old made for me. This is 100% compliment to my wife because now my 7-year-old's making me memorize memory verses, and my wife has just such a good job of really passing on our values and really helping these kids experience their creator. So it's been very rewarding to have a good partner, and I know you and Diva have worked well together as well.
I love Renee, and she made me cry at the event in Dallas when she said a prayer for me, and I was very
Oh,
moved.
good.
So I
I forgot
really
about that.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were you there. You were. I don't know if you were around me at that time, but
I saw it
she did
across the
that.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through another one. I feel like you've answered a lot of these. Okay, do you struggle with this? What if I get to the end of my life and I regret not taking enough risk?
Yeah. So my son, youngest son, is more, I would say, risk averse, and maybe that's the wrong description. He has to plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if he plans and has an idea of what's going to happen because he has planned it out, then he's more comfortable taking the first step.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you call that. And
But
it's,
for you,
but for me, I'm more ready, fire, aim. So I'm willing to do it in the wrong sequence because I feel like, oh, I'm the smart guy. I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to figure it out as the bullets left the barrel.
yeah. So I guess what I'm really asking is I have this tension inside of me. It's like different corners of my brain playing tug of rope where half of my brain is afraid I'm not going to be present for my kids and miss part of their childhood. But then the other half is you play it too safe and we're going to regret not taking enough business risk. And I think that can be tossed away with logic, just knowing that my kids are going to be out of the house in 15 years and I could go hog wild then. But I wonder about that a lot.
I would say that might come down for me to comparisonitis.
Yeah.
And if you live in a very upscale part of the country
Hmm.
and people are don't blink if they see a Ferrari or Lamborghini going through the neighborhood. So that creates a tension level in you. And if you see others that say, "Oh, I have this big of a business or this big of a business," and there's this create, and most people they like being around very successful, wealthy people because they think that is a badge of they've figured it all out.
Yeah.
Their lives are in order because of that.
Yeah.
In reality, that if we opened the curtain and saw the wizard, I realize that there's a lot of other things that we would not want to model. It's completely a shambles, and you'd be surprised. So I'm not saying that's true for everybody, but enough people. So what I've done is I try to shift that over to, rather than the comparisonitis, is I'm just thinking I'm improving. It's Buck 60.0, 60.1, 60.2. It's
Yeah.
going to be what are the things I'm regenerating myself. And when I got into the land space with you 5 years ago, that was like, oh, let me try this out. This is interesting. Let me
Actually,
experiment.
5 years to the day almost.
Yeah. 5 years ago, I had a fellow pilot, tell me about this opportunity, and I said, "Oh, let me check it out. This looks interesting because it sounds very similar, echoes of some of the things I'm doing in the e-commerce space." And I tested it, and it was fab. We came in at the right time, and it was fabulously successful.
The way I think about it, and maybe this is the wrong way, Picture like a character in a video game where they have all these stats, right? And usually when you have a character that's like really strong, their intelligence has to be lower, or
Mm,
you like have to choose which metrics to mess with.
yeah.
And for me, let's say the metrics are faith, family, fitness, finances. Okay. I don't know a single person personally who's maxing out all four of those four.
Okay.
And so part of my brain thinks maybe it's not possible. Maybe there needs, if you're going to max out one or two, the rest are going to be super low. And another part of my brain is maybe I'm just not even thinking of it in the right way. And the way you think about it, which is just constant improvement. There's no meters, there's no health bar like in a video game. It's just getting better every day. Then you don't struggle with trying to measure up to some fake standard you made for yourself.
Yeah. And it's so much more, I think it's much more fun to be in group settings. And I personally, I love, like I went to Arvada to the land conference with you guys, hearing about everyone's successes. At the same time, I also want to hear about everyone's failures.
Yeah.
I'm an instrument rated pilot, and one of the I need to resubscribe to it, but I was subscribed to a magazine called IFR magazine, and all the magazine was accident case studies. How
Yeah.
dudes made the wrong decision and killed themselves.
Crashed. Yeah.
And you think that's morbid, but no, it was training for me. I would
Yeah.
remember, like when I would be in the air, I would remember what I read in the case studies, and I would say, okay, I need to do this. Okay, this was the mistake he made. He was going to fly and he was tired instead of putting the chocks back on the plane and calling it a night.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw this video of somebody in the cabin was recording. It was a small single prop plane in South America, and they like loaded it with baggage or drugs or something. I don't remember what it was, but they loaded it way too heavy, and their liftoff weight was too much, and so they crashed into the trees. And the whole video is just complete chaos of them crashing in the trees, and they all lived through it. But
Oh, wow.
I think about that video sometime because I think some of the guys had their spouses on board. There's probably 6 people on the plane total. So I don't know if I'll be flying anytime soon, but I used
Well,
to
wait
jump
a
out of
minute.
the.
You're going to be flying with me when I get my tail
Sure.
dragger for some backcountry flying. That's
I'm
on the
down
list.
for the risk. I just don't want to me, it seems like a long journey to learn how to fly and then maintain it and all of that. But who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe in 5 years, I'll be all into it. Buck, I looked through these questions. I think,
This is a great call, by the way. I know
yeah,
we're hitting the top of the hour here,
no, it's
but
good.
if there's some nuggets that folks get from this, I really appreciate that. I appreciate everyone listening to this. I love Drew, my good friend and my mentor in many ways. So I really appreciate the things that you've done for me. You visited my house personally on several occasions, just jumping in your car, and that
Mm.
meant a lot to me. Met my family more than once. That's a lesson for me. I'm dating myself, but there's an old ad for United Airlines where they were talking about, we got to stop calling on the phone. We need to go visit our clients. And he's handing out the tickets for everyone to get on an airplane and go visit the client.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Likewise to you. Before we go, is there anything you want to promote? Any way people can get a hold of you? I know your dog supplement company is ultimatedog.com. Anything else you want to make a plug?
no, that's it. You can reach me if you want. I can share my
Sure.
email address if anyone wants to. I get all my own emails, and I respond. It might take a few days for me to get back through the pile, but I'm at buck at ultimatedog.com. You guys can shoot me. Just say if you hated something I said, if I offended anyone, feel free to vent. That's fine. My EA might catch it and put it into the dustbin. To send it to me anyway. I'll probably get it.
What's funny is I think our EAs are all in a group chat together, and I'm sure there's some funny stories shared like, oh, look, my boss just lost his plane ticket and needs me to get him through TSA security. Funny stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got
Well,
a great
sir,
EA. One thing I learned about you on the trip to Ireland is, and you were just leveling your EA up on doing some things with the finances.
She wasn't even an employee yet. She's so smart. She's, hey, you're going to Ireland tomorrow. We just interviewed yesterday for this job. Why don't I just work for you for free for 2 weeks and see if I can take some projects off your plate while you're in Ireland? And if you like me when you get back, hire me. If not, all good. And then, yeah, I was in Ireland. She cleared up 20,000 unread emails and taught her how to wire money. And
I know. I was
Buck,
like, wait a minute, you're giving her keys to the bank account? What's going on here?
Mercury, I think you use
Yeah,
Mercury too. Mercury allows you can set lower permissions. So she could set up,
the two key system. Yeah.
yeah, she could set up the wire and then it goes to me for approval.
Yeah, I really admire how you, I'm sure this is not just your upbringing, but your leadership education in the Army is how to delegate. And that's something that we all need to learn is trusting, having the people that you like around you. I think that's the other lesson that I learned the hard way is just forcing myself to only be around people that I admire, that I share values with, not just a relationship with them because they could make me a lot of money.
Yeah.
You touched on this before. So that kind of person, but they have all these other faults and things that don't work. It's a no. It's not the no, it's the hell no. Sorry for the language, but yeah, it's a no.
Yeah.
Because what will probably happen is you might do a deal with them, you might make a bunch of money or whatever, but down the track you might give it all up. Something else might happen that you don't know where it came from.
Or if something goes wrong, you're just going to be miserable dealing with an unpleasant person. I think a good litmus test is for working with anybody in any business context is if everything went horribly, would I still enjoy working with this person? How does this person respond when things go poorly? And then going back to your comment on delegation, I still can't figure out if I'm just lazy at heart or just some like master delegator. But for me, the heart is really, I don't want to do it. I don't like clicking buttons. I hired this person to do it. So I train them really quick and give them a crash course. And then I just release them into the wild and they figure out the rest on their own.
You're doing a fantastic job at it. And I've seen such an amazing revision to you over the last 5 years. The version now versus the version that I met 5 years ago at the
I was a
class.
punk. I was a punk back then.
Nah, you weren't a punk. You've come a long way, baby. You've come a long
Well, I
way. So.
appreciate it. I receive it. Alrighty, sir. So we shared your email, shared how people can get in touch with you. I appreciate your time. I'm going to see you in a couple of months, so I'm excited about that.
Thank you, Drew. I love you, Drew. This is
yeah.
I appreciate you having me on. And this is probably, I don't do many podcasts or anything like that. So it's probably the only podcast I'll do this year. And just get back to sticking to my knitting.
Yeah, doing what you're good at.
Faith, family, community.
Yeah.
And the things are happening.
And fitness. You're a very fit person. I have been around you.
Well, you've seen me when I was fat. So you've seen me in a full arc of when I was heavy, and now I'm really focused on the fitness.
I think compared to your age group, you're easily in the top 5% of healthy 60-year-olds. Yeah. Sir, I love you as well, and to many more years of travel. And yeah, appreciate you.
See you in September, baby.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, that's it for today. I hope this conversation got you thinking and maybe even questioning a few things. And that's the point. This isn't about having all the answers. It's about figuring it out together. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want to keep exploring these ideas, make sure to subscribe and follow me over at theothersideofenough.com. Let's keep the conversation going and see you next time.